The emergency fund.
It's all gone.
You've probably heard about it before. It's one of the first steps people talk about when it comes to financial stability. But let's be honest, when you're broke or living paycheck to paycheck, it feels like some distant goal. Like, yeah, I'll get to it someday. But here's the thing, when life punches you in the face, and it will, it's your emergency fund that stops it from becoming a knockout. This isn't a video about everything you need to know about emergency funds. This is a video about what's it like to actually have one, or not have one. What it feels like when life goes sideways and you've got a safety net or you don't. Let me take you back to when I was about 21. I had just moved to Newfoundland, young, excited, and hopeful. I was lined up for a big construction job with decent pay and long hours. The kind of job you think, if I just land this, I'll be set for a while. Well, it fell through. Just like that, no job, no backup plan, no network, and no clue what to do next. I didn't have a car, I didn't have any savings, and I sure as hell didn't have an emergency fund. So I did what most people do when they're desperate. I leaned on credit cards. Within a year, I had maxed out 2 cards. The interest piled up, and I couldn't make the minimum payments and ended up in collections, destroying my credit.
Heard you're having money problems.
No, you didn't.
And that was probably the first time I truly felt like I had no control over my life. It was a dark place, and looking back now, all of that chaos could have been avoided with a fully funded emergency fund. A few years later, I got a high-paying job and things started to shift. I watched a Dave Ramsey video, probably like a lot of people do, and that's when I first heard about the idea of saving $1,000 as your starter emergency fund. At the time, I was making good money, but I was spending all of it, every last dollar. I wasn't broke because I didn't earn enough, I was broke because I didn't keep any of it. So I challenged myself, I got focused, and I cut out the dumb purchases, the fast food, the excessive clothing, the nights out, and within 2 weeks, I had $1,000 sitting in my account. To be fair, my situation helped. I was living with my dad, I didn't have any kids, pets, or a ton of responsibilities. But that first $1,000, it was a game changer. Not just financially, but mentally. It was the first time I had money that wasn't already spoken for, and it felt powerful. Eventually, I moved out and got my own apartment, which meant new responsibilities and higher risk. If I lost my job, I needed to make sure I could still cover my rent. So I bumped my emergency fund to $3,000. Why that number? Because with my bank, that was the amount I needed in my checking account to waive the monthly fees. So it served 2 purposes. It saved me fees and gave me 1 month's breathing room if things went sideways. From there, I kept going. I paid off all my debts, kept building my emergency fund slowly, and over time, I had saved up $15,000. I was also investing, saving for a house, and optimizing my bank accounts. I moved to Tangerine for no fees and parked my emergency funds in EQ Bank to earn a bit of interest. And even though I didn't need to use that emergency fund yet, just knowing it was there gave me a peace of mind that helped me sleep better at night. Then 2020 hit, COVID-19. Work dried up, construction sites shut down, and just like that, I was out of a job. But luckily, my YouTube channel had started to pick up. I was bringing in some income from that, and I had a bit of EI as well. But there was definitely months where that wasn't enough. That's when the emergency fund kicked in. I didn't need to sell my investments, which was great because the market was down. I didn't need to borrow. I just dipped into my emergency funds whenever I came up short. It turned what could have been a total financial disaster into just an inconvenience. A bump in the road. By the end of the year, I got a new job and was back on my feet. Emergency fund topped up again and the market had recovered, and this allowed me to sell my stocks and buy my first house. Something that wouldn't have happened without that safety net. About 5 months into home ownership, a giant maple tree fell onto my house. Luckily, there wasn't significant damage, and the power company helped me take it down. But they also cut down 7 more trees that were close to the power lines, just to be safe. The problem? They left me in a jungle of fallen trees and limbs. I couldn't get in the driveway and I couldn't keep working on the garage I was planning to build. It looked like a hurricane hit, but just my property. At the time, me and my partner were expecting our first baby. I was trying to finish the garage before the birth, and here I was staring at a massive mess. Stressful? Yeah. But I picked up my phone and I called the local arborist, and for $3,500, they cleaned it all up in 1 day. Our emergency fund to the rescue again. With the baby on the way, I knew my expenses were about to go up, so I boosted my emergency fund to $20,000. Good thing too, because not even a month after our son was born, my car died. Classic strawberry milkshake of death. Fixing it might have worked, or it might have been money down the drain. It would be hard to tell if the transmission was damaged and the frame was rotting anyways. So instead of fixing it, I bought a new truck, but not with my emergency funds. Why? Because needing a new vehicle isn't unexpected. It's inevitable. That's where sinking funds come in. If an emergency fund is for the unexpected, a sinking fund is for the expected. Your roof blows off in a windstorm, emergency fund. Your roof is 25 years old and is leaking from age, that's your sinking fund. You can build a sinking fund for anything. Vacations, car repairs, property taxes, Christmas. Once your emergency fund is fully stocked, start focusing more on these. Because the more you plan ahead, the less your future self will panic. And less panic equals better decisions. Last year, I started a stump grinding business, and let me tell you, starting a business is a whole different level of risk. There were weeks where no one called. No jobs, no money coming in, and if I didn't have savings to cover my personal bills, I would have quit, guaranteed. But I didn't. I had a separate fund for starting the business, and I had my emergency funds for life. And that freedom, that breathing room, allowed me to stay calm, make good choices, improve my marketing, services, and build momentum. Now that business is stable and going strong. So yeah, the emergency fund, it's not just a financial tool. It's peace of mind. It's control. It's the space between you and panic. Life will throw you curveballs. That's not a question. The question is, will you be ready when it does? If your emergency fund isn't helping you sleep at night, it's either not big enough or it's not accessible enough. Everyone's number will be different, and it will depend on your lifestyle, your income, and your responsibilities. But one thing's for sure, you need one. And once you have it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Now, if you want a full breakdown on everything you need to know about emergency funds, click the video on the right of the screen. See you there.